Okay. Welcome everybody. I have two very important people here. Um, I have the former Studio 151 director. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chloris. I'm the former Studio 151 director.
And within the same shot, I have the current Studio 151 director.
Hello, I'm Ryan. I'm the current, although not for too much longer, Studio 151 director.
Yeah, so me and Ryan are graduating. So I kind of just wanted to get together.
And who are you?
Oh, that's not important. I'm the current assistant director. You've probably seen me around. But I essentially just kind of wanted to talk about 151 and kind of, I don't know, have some closure with it before we might not get a chance for a long time to utilize the space, along with on top of this space might not even exist within the coming years. So yeah, I just wanted to just talk with you guys. I have some kind of specific questions directed towards each of you, but some of them are kind of the same, so I might ask both of you, but some might be a little bit more direct. But just gonna just start with Chloris and just kind of ask you how you got involved with Studio 151, or just I guess the Media Lab in general.
So my first year here, I went to the activities fair, and grabbed a bunch of stuff, signed up for a bunch of stuff. I actually signed up also for the Collegian, and I had a feeling I couldn't do both, so I was just gonna see kind of how they all played out. And then I didn't hear anything back from the Collegian, but I heard a lot of stuff from TUTV. So I went to like one of the first meetings where they like introduced like all the roles and everything like that, and signed up for entertainment producer. And since I was a producer, I was attending the producers meetings, and at that meeting was somebody named Jenna, who was kind of leading the podcast studio at that time. I don't think we specifically had a director role then, but she was, kind of acting as director, and just leading the podcast studio. I think it was mainly just her at that point. So just through conversations with her, I decided to get involved. I had done some podcasting before, so I was
Yeah,
interested.
I'll ask more about that, but I was gonna ask the same question to Ryan, just how you got involved. I know it might be kind of similar.
Yeah, I was gonna say just same. Um, got here 2 years ago now. Went to the activities fair. Sam Moody, the former TUTV director, caught me at the activities fair for TUTV. Showed up for TUTV, found out there was a podcast studio, showed up for that as well. And then, started making podcasts. And
Great. So just piggybacking off of that, you mentioned you had done podcasting before. I was just going to kind of ask, what got you interested, and what did you like about it, and if you want to kind of explain what your previous experience was, Cloris.
Yeah, so I went to TCC, Tulsa Community College, before coming to TU, and I was electronic and broadcast communications, I think was my my kind of like degree path. And I took a class called news writing and reporting, and it was a very interesting class. It was like set up like we were going to do our own sort of like news publication. We made like a site and everything, and everyone had different roles. And so I was a one of the like managing editors alongside another person. And that person had also mentioned being interested in doing a podcast and wanting to do um like a true crime podcast. And since we were already collaborating as editors and I was actively listening to a true crime podcast, I was like, yeah, I want to join. And he would needed a co-host, and it was like going to be a part of the website too. So we just collaborated on that, and that was sort of my first experience. I really, really liked it, and so then I wanted to keep doing it, and I didn't know like TU even had this space until like was well into like TU TV, um, and started like getting closer with Jenna. So yeah.
That's great. It's kind of a weird coincidence, but I remember I was talking to you because we now have a true crime podcast that's being produced out of 151, and I think you saw like on our Instagram like the first episode was about like the Girl Scout murders in Oklahoma, and that was
Mhm.
like also your first episode, or did you just do an episode about it?
So I don't think it was it might have been our first episode. We did several episodes, and so how it was kind of set, it was called Messy, and the way it was set up was like we would take turns. One of us would bring like a true crime story, and then the other person would bring something kind of like urban legend or conspiracy theory based. So and there would usually be like a theme, and yeah, I can't remember what the like conspiracy theory counterpart to that one was, but I presented or I talked about the Girl Scout murders in one of the episodes. Yeah.
Can you listen to this anywhere?
Yeah, there's somewhere. I think our website still might be up. I can't remember what it's called. But I do think they are somewhere
Okay.
out there. I should probably know that. But
No,
yeah,
you're good. I was just
I
curious.
think it was called Messy with David and Chloris. So
Cool.
you can look that up.
And then kind of back to Ryan, similar thing. Did you do some podcast stuff at your last college, or?
A tiny bit. I'd recorded a couple of podcasts with the UW Film Club. I'm trying to remember what they were about. I know I talked about prisoners. I know I did like a really long, like our favorite movies of like 2019 podcast. Yeah, they're out there. And I kind of hadn't really engaged with the podcasts. Like didn't really listen to them until like not until like a little bit into the pandemic, and then I started listening to some film podcasts, and that's kind of how I got into like listening to them. And then I was like, this is kind of something I'd want to do. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I hadn't made too many before coming here. I feel like the bulk of my podcast production has been here.
Gotcha. No,
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. Kind of. I mean, for those that know, that kind of makes sense for the kind of podcast series that you made.
Yeah.
Coming from like a film background. Did your last university have did film studies have its own little studio, or did was there like a universal, or like was it a very like put together?
I'm trying to remember how we recorded those. I want to say we just set up like one of those blue snowballs,
or
like
the blue snowball
in the center of the room, and just talked.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, all got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like at TCC, their podcast space is actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like it was very well, like here it's not very like soundproof in terms of like noises coming in, but like
there's already been a door shut.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
But at TCC, it was very like in a very like low traffic area of the building, very well soundproof. Yeah, it was just a really nice space.
Yeah, I think this one's just cool.
Yeah,
like being in a ticket booth.
Yeah, I do love it here, but
yeah,
it was just kind of interesting seeing that from like, I don't know, I think like at a community college it maybe wouldn't be as like nice or put together, but like it was better.
Yeah.
And had like newer technology for the most part.
Yeah.
But I still love this little space.
Are you gonna say something, right?
Oh, I was just thinking about there's like those little rooms down that way, like for taking pictures.
Oh,
like near the dark room. I feel like that would be like a less you get less outside noise.
Yeah. Next thing, so you've kind of gave a little bit of an overview, Chloris, but I am just curious on like what the Studio 151 was like when you first joined? Like, was this space already made when you joined? Because I know like it was the former Cry Room. Had you recorded in there before? To clarify, the Cry Room was like a little tent in TUTV's studio that had like a TV.
It's
these.
literally
This
the
stuff.
two
Yeah.
walls in here. Yeah.
That made like a little dark tent, and there was like a TV in there and like some mic. So I didn't. I just didn't really know. I don't know if you could elaborate on like kind of where it was at when you joined.
Yeah, so it wasn't the Cry Room was established as the Cry Room when
Okay.
I got here. But this space was all set up. We didn't have any of like the lighting in here. It was really just like whatever, like the really annoying lights.
Oh, you're saying not even like.
Like the yellow panels with like the whatever those are lights.
Oh wait, this?
Yes.
Like the big one.
Oh, it was no. It was
Okay,
a little
okay.
like circular.
I was gonna be like, that's gonna be rough if it
one-
just was like the one like.
No, it was just these lights. So yeah, it was it was pretty much unchanged for the most part, and we had I think one less mic, which we then added in because did you want to know like how the podcast
Yeah.
studio was? Okay, so at that time, like I said, it was mainly just like Jenna running it, and then
And she was just a student.
yeah, she was a student. I think she was a senior. Yeah, she was a senior, and there wasn't really anybody else. So she had the idea to like how to start getting people like involved. Was she wanted there to be, or we wanted there to be more collaboration between 151 and TUTV, especially because TUTV was more established. So using TUTV as a way to kind of like get Studio 151 off the ground. So she would do segments where pretty much there would be like deep dives into like one or whatever of the stories in the TUTV episode, and she would have the producer come on for that. So I would come on for like entertainment stuff, and then we had Will, who was news. He would come in for news, and then Harry was sports. And then like from there, it is actually the entertainment episodes that took off and got more people wanting to be involved. And so I remember we would like literally have like 2 people per mic just like crammed in here, and people like taking turns like moving out of the way to use the mic, especially for like our movie reviews. I remember one of them, I think it might have been maybe either Infinity War or Endgame, but we did a review over one of those of like the Avengers films.
Huh. I thought
Yeah.
Endgame came out my senior year in high school.
2019, yeah.
29? I thought Infinity War.
2019.
No, Infinity War came out
Before
after
that.
I
Infinity War
graduated
was
from high school.
2018.
2018, yeah.
I'm saying Endgame, I think, was 2019.
Endgame
Okay,
was
so then it was probably Endgame that we did a review over. Or maybe we did both of them. It might have been both. I don't know, but it has something to do with Avengers. And there was quite a few people that were like crammed in here. So yeah, I kind of where things really started to like take off was with our like movie reviews, or just like generally like entertainment commentary sort of stuff. And we had a pretty like solid group of people who were consistently coming. There's maybe about like 5 of us that were consistently on episodes.
How did you end up getting like the offer to be director? Where you think you were kind of the most involved with it, or?
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I was probably the most involved. I was also pretty close with Jenna and was talking with her a lot, and she specifically wanted me to take her job. Everybody else was like great, but I think I was the only one who was like really involved and like really passionate about it. So I remember her like very specifically saying like, I want you to take over the studio when I'm gone. And then from there, I just worked with Justin. And for my first year, I mean, then the pandemic hit. So everything was virtual, and we like had a really hard time with like the podcast studio. But that was my first year as director. And so because there wasn't really.
How did you, and if Jenna was running it, sorry, the pandemic hit our both of our first year here.
Mm-hmm.
How are you director?
So it started in spring of 2020. Our first semester was fall 2019. And so she was graduating spring 2020, and I started as director technically summer 2020, but fall 2020. Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to critique you. I just was a little confused.
But yeah, so for like that whole like 2020, fall 2020, spring 2021, I was still able to, or like allowed to, I guess, be both entertainment producer and Studio 151 director, because 151 was struggling because we couldn't do anything really. And we were trying to just like, you know, figure out how we could still do podcasts. And then whenever we were back in person, then I had to give up my entertainment producer role and just focus on the studio, since there, was more opportunity and more things to do here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing. I was gonna kind of ask, because I feel like me and Ryan just kind of figured it out, but I was curious on like how were kind of the roles between director and assistant director kind of decided, or like how did that kind of your relationship and like work ethic kind of like function there?
Between
I know you had two assistant directors, but I'm just like in terms of like the separate roles, like
between assistant director and
get like kind of what did you do and what did your assistant director do?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, because essentially Caspian and I do the same things.
Interesting. Yeah. So, how it kind of came up was that I wasn't like initially, we didn't want me to be taking control of the editing. And so that was that noise?
There's someone shutting the door, I think.
Oh no, I hear like a little like.
No, there's like a ticking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been going on the whole time.
Really? I guess I just noticed that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we wanted specifically like the assistant director would handle like editing, posting, things like that, and I was kind of more high level, making sure that things were going out on time, things were, being recorded, kind of managing who was in the studio and when. And like outreach and things like that. So I was like very high level, whereas my assistant director would be in control of most of the editing, which backfired. So that's probably why now both of you guys, have a hand in that, because it didn't really work out.
Because the editing takes more time than I would assume scheduling and planning.
Yeah, well, that, and also I kind of went through a rough patch with my assistant directors where with all the peace and love, my original assistant director dropped out about halfway through the semester, and so there was and during that time there had been sort of like a buildup of episodes that needed to go out, so we had all this like buildup of content plus no assistant director to like kind of help me manage that, and then finally we had someone who stepped in. And then things started to get back on track after that. But I think, and also you,
I was going to say, is that the time when I just started editing my own episodes?
Yeah, and then Ryan just started editing his own episodes because
nothing was coming out.
Yes, because it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And again, it was something that I didn't really have time for, and that like we had established early on, I didn't have time to do that. So that was something that I needed, like an assistant director, and we wanted to have an editor also. But I think that was another conversation that got, stretched out through the entire year, of just like, do we have like the money for somebody to do that? And then it was like, okay, well, they need to do like all the paperwork and stuff like that to make sure we can have like an editor position. And it just didn't happen for, when I was there. It just didn't work out. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, yeah. I understand why that was hard, and like this job would be really hard doing it on your own 100%.
Yeah. And that was something that even Justin had said. He was like, you absolutely need an assistant director, because like they've had it before where someone is just kind of running the whole thing and that doesn't work out, and that kind of happened again. So
yeah, it's interesting kind of seeing that progression because now we're about to have 2 co-directors. There's not going to be
No assistant director.
or
Yeah.
Interesting.
um,
It was something that they had suggested, but I supported because I was like, it's kind of what me and Caspian are doing right now,
Mhm.
anyways. Like, there's no real difference in the role. Like,
Yeah.
I send more emails to Justin than he does. Like, that's about it.
Yeah.
We, both edit, we both post stuff, we both, yeah. So,
yeah. I was gonna ask if you remember, Chloris, your first podcast you recorded here.
It might, when you said you showed me these questions, I was like, I'm gonna look it up, and then I did it. I think it might have been a Joker review.
Yeah, because that came out my freshman year.
Yeah. So I think it was the Joker review, which I was very excited about because I love that movie. So, or it was either the Joker review or it was a review of It Chapter 2. Those happened
that's
very
pretty
close
far
together.
down there too. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was
Yeah, those both happened very close to each other. So it was
Yeah.
one of those two. It was a movie review either way.
I
mhm.
think it came out earlier. I could
Which
be
one?
wrong.
And
Which one?
I think it came
It?
out
I know
earlier in the
those-
year.
Then
Yeah.
it's probably it.
I just know those both. I feel like came out, or well, if you're saying it came out, I know 100% Joker came out in the fall of 2019.
And
Yeah.
I remember going to see it before school started.
Oh,
But school started like late in September, so that could not mean much. But I could have sworn Joker was like October.
interesting. Do you remember your first episode?
Yes, it was a very bad idea. It was myself and Bryce,
Oh.
and we
Is that
talked.
Dune?
No, we. I thought it would be fun if we talked about our favorite movie from every year from since we were born.
So like 20 plus movies.
Each.
Yeah. So 40
It was
movies.
like
Oh my God.
it was like it ended up being like an hour and a half long. I think it's actually longer. I don't remember how long it is. Yeah. I thought it was a good idea, and then we sat down
Wild.
and started talking, and then like we got like halfway through the movies, and we were at like 45 minutes or like getting close to an hour, and I was like, oh, this is. I mean, me and you have gone on some long episodes, but it was just.
But yeah, I
like,
feel like that more happened, except for the Pokemon episode. But
yeah,
I feel like most of the time, like it's kind of natural, like we just keep talking. But like maybe the like candy tier list too, where it's like, oh, like we gotta keep going.
yeah.
Um,
It would have been something that would have been good if it was like split up,
yeah.
but yeah,
Okay.
that was the first one.
I can't remember. I think like the first time at least I had ever used the studio was just for a school project. It was me and Ray, a media studies major,
Oh, yeah, I
which
remember
I
that.
think he was in senior project with me. So I don't know last semester. So I don't know if he's already graduated or he graduates this spring. But we interviewed, I believe, like someone really high up or like potentially the founder, like main person in control of the Tulsa Athletic, which is like a Tulsa soccer club. And we just interviewed him. But it was really cool. I had never used the studio before, and that was my first time. Moving on. So like, so when me and Ryan realized that we have a YouTube channel and that there's videos on it, you guys have like a review crew. So I was just gonna ask you about that and how it came to be, and like you guys also recorded over the summer. So I was
Yep.
kind of curious on how that worked.
Yeah, so if you watch those, they're not very good quality. So it was just the product, I think, of us, we had all gotten like pretty close doing like our movie reviews, and so we started something called Review Crew, because it was all like the same. I think there's, like I said, I think there's like maybe 5 of us, I think, who were a part of Review Crew consistently. And we would just review movies. It wasn't ever like specifically like new movies coming out. It was like, I remember one time we did do that. Like we reviewed Uncut Gems, and then another Adam Sandler movie. I think we had a little Adam Sandler thing going on, but we also reviewed Click, which I stepped out of that one because I just didn't want to watch that movie. Um, but yeah, so when like the pandemic hit, we um I guess we just like still wanted to do episodes and still wanted to record because it was something that was really fun for us. So we just hopped on a Teams Microsoft Teams call, which is the worst.
I hated
hate
Teams.
Yeah.
When
I hate
TUTV started
Teams.
using Teams, I
Yeah.
was like, this
Mhm.
is so
It was the worst.
confusing.
And then
It
we
was the
switched to
worst.
Discord and
Ye-
everything got better.
Yeah.
Yes, Discord's so much better. Yeah, so Teams awful, but so we would just like record on that, and I think and Jenna had wanted to do some sort of like video component because we had that YouTube channel for a while, and so she wanted to like utilize that. And so I think maybe the first one that we did when the pandemic hit was like the oh my god,
Loki?
Tiger King.
Tiger
Oh.
King.
I almost
yeah.
said
Oh.
Lion King.
So
And
that
we-
that episode has the most plays on our.
Yeah, we really capitalized on the Tiger
Yeah.
King like craze. So
Yeah,
Kinda
that's
worked
like our,
out.
at least just audio wise, that's our most
That's our
played.
most
Mhm.
played, yeah.
nice.
By
Yeah.
like significant margins,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like.
Wow. Yeah, that was really fun. Also because I remember Will like making like as we were recording, making this like really funny because I think at some point like We Bought a Zoo was like referenced. And so like as we were recording, Will was like making this like little like picture and he like took like the poster for We Bought a Zoo and replaced all the images with just what is his name?
I don't know.
So he
I
says
don't
the Tiger
remember.
King's
Yeah,
name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joe
him and then
Exotic, like-
somebody else from it, and it was just really, really funny. So yeah, it was a great time, and we also developed, or we made like little like sort of like cover because there were like cover images sort of for like some of the other podcasts, like Ball Talk was another one, that like was an ongoing series, I think with Harry and Devin, who was the former sports producer for TETV. But yeah, so for Review Crew, it like we all just like took pictures of ourselves doing poses and then they're like little silhouettes. I don't know if it ever got used, but yeah, we really like leaned into it. And I think we continued it through the summer. And then we brought it back, or I tried to bring it back the next summer with Loki. And so we did like a similar thing. We even got Justin on one of the episodes, and he tells us the story about how he ended up at a furry convention. He and a bunch of like media studies, like scholars and like professors, ended up at a furry convention. It's really funny, and I think that's one of the episodes that maybe never got like
Justin
published.
erased it.
no,
I'm
it
just
got
kidding.
caught in like the editing. Yeah, I was very, very upset about that because it was a really good episode, and really cool to have him on there. But yeah, that was something that happened over the summer, too. So.
Yeah. I was gonna. So how did were TUTV producers just automatically like Studio 151 producers? Because I'm a little because like I know previously like on our Instagram you like introduce like producers.
So they were because initially we wanted Studio 151 and TUTV to be very like tied together. They weren't automatically producers. I think it was something that they kind of volunteered for because initially the producers were coming on as doing these segments. And then we did end up wanting to follow the format kind of where there was, entertainment, sports, and news podcasts. And I think that's even something I mentioned in like one of our like first meetings when we actually met in person was that like our goal was to have just so we could have like solidified content that was coming out, that there would consistently be an entertainment, a news, and a sports podcast. And then if somebody wanted to do something else, that's fine too. But we figured because we could have some sort of collaboration with TTV and pull content from there, then we would at least like have something and get some awareness. And then, like I said, if people wanted to like branch out or if someone had like an idea and just wanted to do a podcast, they could do that too. But yeah, so that's why there were like producers. they were pretty much just the same from TUTV, and then just wanted to be a part of Studio 151. So we developed that kind of model out of that.
Gotcha. Yeah, you kind of mentioned some. I was just kind of curious about like your time being a director, like what podcasts were being produced, like what series. Because there was like kind of the unique one with like Caden did the like something slice one.
That one was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. Between Two Slices, I think was what it was called. And he would like interview somebody over like a pizza. Like he would order a pizza from like a different restaurant or a different like pizza place, and they would like kind of he would interview them, but they would also do kind of like a little review of the pizza. So that was really cool. I tried to get a Halloween series going, and I think there ended up being like a few episodes of that coming out, which you guys ended up also doing a Halloween series, right? Which made me very happy because that's all I wanted. And we got a few episodes out of that when I was director. Trying to think
I
of
think
else.
there's still an unreleased episode.
There's the
probably is. There
Goosebumps
probably
one where Sarah and Caden.
And me.
Oh, you were in that?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know
What did
that.
you do on the Goosebumps episode?
We read Choose Your Own
Remember.
Adventure Goosebumps
Oh, right.
novels
Yeah.
from
Dude, I should try and edit that and just
internetarchive.org.
schedule that for October.
Or did I sabotage that because I wasn't on the episode and I didn't want it to come out? Just kidding. That didn't happen.
We do still have it, though.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Because we wanted to release it during our Halloween series, but then we already did like 7 episodes, and we just like ran out of time.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had like a little Halloween series. You had What's on Our Screens. I'm trying to think of what else there was. I feel like
there was a couple of Ball Talk episodes.
Yeah,
that,
Ball Talk was still coming
Brenton-
out. Yeah, Brenton and
DJ.
yeah, DJ.
Yeah.
We're doing that. I feel like Sarah had maybe one.
I think
but
she wanted to start a book one that never
a book one, yeah.
went off.
Because there was somebody else who was supposed to do it with her, and they fell off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So, this is so yeah. I think those, and then I think, like I said, I think the last like maybe review crew kind of thing we did was that summer with Loki. So yeah,
And that seemed like something you really enjoyed.
yeah, I really, and I wanted to be on more podcasts, but again, I think it was kind of framed as like, I didn't really have time for that, and I honestly didn't have time for it really. But yeah, review crew was really, really fun, and I wish we could have continued it more. And also because a lot of like the original like members of review crew, I think like one of them transferred, one of them dropped out.
2, I thought. Never mind.
Oh, maybe 2 of them did drop out. Oh, one of them was going to transfer, then just dropped out. So 2 dropped out, and then 1 graduated, and then one of them he went to England to study abroad, and then I was here.
I thought you were gonna be like, and never came back, or
No,
something.
it came back much different. So yeah.
Okay, cool. This was just gonna be used as like a segue to ask Ryan a couple questions, but I just was gonna ask how you guys met. I'm assuming just the career fair, but I don't know if there's anything else to that.
No, I just started showing up
Activities
to
fair.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I
Not
keep
the career fair.
Yeah.
saying that. My bad.
Yeah, I just
We didn't pay
started
him
showing
yet.
up to meetings through TUT. I think I went to TUTV. I don't remember how it all happened. I got there through TUTV or the activities fair, just tabling. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a good job. You and Harry, I feel like, did a good job of advertising Studio 151 in TUTV. Or we didn't really do that. But
I feel like the membership was just not interested.
Yeah, well,
And
Like
not
this
interested in
current,
doing.
like this current membership is just not interested in podcasts at all.
yeah.
Oh, TUTV membership?
Yeah,
I
see.
was just saying I feel like you and Harry did a good job of like using TUTV as an outlet to like recruit people, whereas like
Gotcha.
most of our people
have come from outside.
Actually, we only have one person that is Betty that does TUTV and Studio 151.
And I think she just started doing this first. Was she showing up to TUTV?
I feel like I remember her showing up to both meetings,
Yeah.
like within the same week.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of funny because I feel like
Yeah.
when you were director, most of, if not all, the people that were involved with Studio 151 were a part of TUTV.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really interesting because it was really difficult to get people to join and to like show up and like want to do stuff because we had like I remember like in 2020 we had like people who came to like our virtual meetings and kind of telling them like we're trying to figure out a way to do this, like if you want to like stick around and be a part of that. I think the only person we got out of that like whole year was Brenton. Shout out to Brenton.
Mm-hmm.
Love him. But otherwise people just like fell off. Like they were just gone. They just like ghosted me. And then I, because we like I think we actually had like our first meeting. It was just like a media lab meeting, so it wasn't just like 151 or TUTV. It was everybody, because our tables were together, and that was like our initial strategy. Was like the first year like TUTV and Studio 151 would be together. Once 151 is kind of established, then it would break off and be separate, and they would have their own tables. But we were like together in one table, and so people could sign up for both TUTV and 151. And even if you signed up for TUTV only, if you came to that first media lab meeting, like you would hear the pitch for 151. And so we just had a lot of people that were signing up for both because they were hearing both or were there for both.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, we were next to TUTV, but like still there was like space between us.
Yeah, there was like a weird like walkway, but they were like, "Yeah, we got you. We'll put your tables next to each other," and then there was like a walkway between us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was ultimately like the goal at some point, because I like I said, like the idea was like get 151 established, have them be tied together, but then eventually, break off and be sister organizations, but like not be reliant on the other.
Yeah, which I think we're yeah.
pretty close,
Yeah.
Mhm.
if not there.
Yeah, I would agree. I was just gonna kind of ask you, Ryan, of like how, like, I mean, it's kind of obvious why you chose to do what's on your screen, just because you have like a big background in film. But I was just curious on how like you kind of structured it, because it seems like you kind of just like.
There is no structure to any of them.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like you at least had a structure in the sense of like you wanted new people on to talk about.
At the start, I had wanted to do just like new release stuff, but it was hard to get people on who were watching stuff as quickly as I was.
Yeah.
That's just like that's a me issue.
Yeah.
So I sort of shifted to let's do more retrospective stuff. I mean, we still do some current stuff, like we talked about The Last of Us and the Mario Brothers movie.
We
But
did Knock at the Cabin too.
yeah.
I feel like there's more, but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you've recorded with me. I usually don't come in with a plan.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'd be better if I did have a plan going in and like questions and stuff. But so I feel like when I start to structure it, I structure it too much, and then it just becomes too much of a like I'm reading a script, and I
There needs to be a balance.
don't allow. Yeah,
Like I have a whole list of questions here, but
yeah, and that'd be good for
but yeah, I'm just
I feel like when I start planning like that, I just rely too much on the plan.
Well,
That makes
and
sense.
I mean, I'm not trying to inform, but like I know, like I hear things, and then like when I ask more about it, and I like being able to get off track and then come back to like
Yeah,
a structure. I think that's just. I mean, I don't know. No one wants to listen to like a super structured podcast. People want kind of like raw and authentic.
Well,
You're-
in true crime,
You're
there
right,
is
that
a
it-
thing like even think about like Crime Junkie, which is like the one that got me into podcasts. They're very structured. and you can tell they have a script, but like they deliver it in a way that makes it seem like it's an organic conversation.
Yeah.
But you can tell it's still
Yeah.
scripted.
Like,
Go
I-
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, some structure is always good,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but like once I feel like I always go to like depth into how I structure it, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
It just
Yeah.
depends on what you're trying to get out of a podcast.
yeah.
And I think like Crime Junkie is more kind of like a journalistic, not that, so like you kind of have to know your stuff and like have to, like, you're telling a story.
Mhm.
Whereas like a chat cast or something, it's just
Yeah.
like kind of bouncing off each other,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which both have a place.
hmm
Oh, okay, so this is for both of you. I guess I'll start with Chloris. So kind of when you first realized you were gonna like take the role of director, I just was gonna kind of ask like what you wanted to like bring to it. What did you think like was lacking? I mean, obviously it seemed like there wasn't like a whole lot of structure around it, so maybe bringing that structure was kind of only what you were trying to bring. But
Yeah. We're talking to me first, or
yeah, either or.
oh, okay.
Go for it.
Okay. So I wanted there to be more structure, but I also just wanted there to be more people. Because like I knew we were losing quite a few people, um, between like the spring and like the fall. So my biggest thing was I just wanted, like I said, for there to be like a structure, but also just to see it grow. Yeah, I think that was kind of my biggest thing. I wanted there to be some sort of like social media presence too, and so we were trying to work with the person who was like in charge of social media for TUTV. That had some growing. I think a lot of it. I mean, a lot of 151 during that time was just going through growing pains, and so it was just kind of a lot of trial and error. But ultimately, what I wanted was I wanted there to be consistent content coming out
Yeah.
of the studio.
Yeah, we kind of ran into that issue too. Like we wanted to do more social media because we've only started that this semester.
Mhm.
And nothing against this person at all, but like we had talked with someone that was like gonna make like a template or like something that we could use, and it just
Yeah.
never ended up happening. And so I think, I don't know, me and Ryan just wanted, you want to like contribute or collaborate creatively
Yeah.
as much as possible. And so like that was just something that like I eventually just like went on Canva and
Yeah.
and made something, and then like
Yeah.
we kick it off. And
Well, and if you really want to have a social media presence, you really need to have like somebody that's specifically dedicating their time to that and like working with like the directors or assistant director, whoever in the studio to like develop that content. But I mean, to have like a certain level of, I think we're kind of seeing that like right now where you might want to cut this out, but like just where it there really is value in having somebody that's dedicated to social media and somebody who's not doing social media for the media lab entirely, like both TUTV and 151, like they both need their individual social media people, because that's where you get like a lot of like news and like traction out about like what your organization's doing and like what's coming out of it, because like you can post like, or you can like publish your episodes, but I mean, how are people going to find it? And I think you're still kind of running into the issue of like people not knowing that Studio 151 exists, or like even that like the room is,
yeah,
here, which it's gotten a lot better of people like learning about it. Like for me, it was like people literally had no clue, and were very confused, and but it seems like it's still present, but it's getting better. Like people still are getting more awareness.
yeah, it's been cool. Like we've been working with esports. Betty's Culture Swap has been bringing a lot of like people in leadership roles in other organizations. And I feel like I just keep hearing people being like, I didn't even know this here.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's really cool getting that kind of recognition. And people are always like, this is so fun. Like, this is so cool. So it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I kind of had the same goals going in as Chloris. I mean, just like more podcasts. I think that like spring before I took over, I think myself and you guys were the only ones who were making podcasts. And there's been a lot more podcasts produced out of the studio now. So, mission accomplished, I guess.
For sure.
Yeah.
I 100% think mission accomplished. Sorry. I guess I should maybe answer some of these questions. And just briefly. I just got involved because I was a media studies major, and basically every class I ever took, I had Sam Moody trying to recruit people to TUTV. And I did, and I know I've already talked about this in like my senior spotlight and TUTV and other stuff like that. But I was like really interested in my senior year in high school. I went to Tulsa Tech and I did sound engineering. But it wasn't only like emphasis on audio. We learned like the basics of just like filmmaking and all that, and I really enjoyed it, and I really did want to get involved because there wasn't really any production-based media study classes aside from these clubs. So it ended up I wasn't able to join until like my sophomore year just because COVID and having classes at the time. But was just doing TV for a while, and then I took a class with Bruin, and I was obligated to record a podcast for my senior project, and Chloris even came into my class and like gave a little lecture on like podcast tips. And I scheduled a time and did that project. Had a really fun time. It had been a while since I'd worked with audio, since I did in high school, and I just like really enjoyed it. And then the next year, me and Chloris were in a class together, and we did a whole semester-long podcast series, which was a lot of fun, and just further got me interested with the club. Yeah. I have a few questions. These are just for everyone. This is like pretty broad, but I just was gonna ask, like, got any favorite memories? That's what I was just gonna like. First of all, I just feel like I've spent so much time in this room, and there's been a lot of funny and just really meaningful things that have happened here. But I just, even when we worked for the project, I was just saying that me and Chloris did for a semester long was our cyber podcast for cyber dummies. I think it just was like really funny because like the goal was having two media studies majors work with two CS majors and kind of trying
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, sorry.
Specifically, yeah.
Cybersecurity majors, and basically just trying to make a lot of like cybersecurity information and just like cyber safety tips and stuff like more normalized. And it just was like really fun and funny. The two people we were working with had like really big personalities, and it just was like a really, really funny collaboration. And like, and I just remember just me and Chloris just having to like, it was like a really confusing puzzle of like getting these really intelligent people to like slow down and kind of like break things down, which I think was just, a learning experience for us, but also for them.
Were they seniors?
No, they're
No, they
freshmen.
were both freshmen.
Oh, who was on there?
Ethan
Then-
Stubblefield and Chase.
I think something starts with a K.
I don't know either one, so
I
I thought they might be people
yeah.
that I knew, but
I feel bad if we didn't know Chase's last
They're
name.
both K-Sigs, I think, too.
But that was a really good experience. Another one that like comes to mind is just like me and you. I don't know. This was a few weeks ago. I mean,
when we were trying to rearrange
Yeah.
the studio, yeah, that was a good
like I don't know what. I think it just was like middle semester. You're just kind of beaten down, and like
yeah, neither one of us wanted to do anything.
just like productive procrastination. So we were like, let's clean the studio.
Yeah, we vacuumed in here. We moved like a shelf on top of another shelf and made more space, and
then we like we're trying to rearrange the tables to see if we can make more space and stuff, and it got really weird because like this is still one of the funniest things that probably happened this semester, but like we moved this table completely the other way, and we were sitting in it because we thought it might be cool to like be able to like have the mic here and table here, and then like also be able to like do this, so it's kind of, I don't know.
we had like this table going like this way, and then there
Okay.
was like 2 tables, like a classroom almost.
Yeah. This
Wait,
table didn't move.
Yeah.
there was an extra table here though?
No.
No.
We just
Wait.
moved this. We rotated this table 90 degrees, and then moved it out that way.
So
okay.
it was a little cramped for like the producer or the person
Yeah.
at the computer. But anyways, I don't remember where I was sitting, but like I was just sitting. And I was
You're sitting right where you're sitting right now.
and like the door was open, and I was like, "This is weird. Like this feels like a dream where it's like somewhere so familiar, but it just feels off."
Yeah.
And like right as I said that, a dog just came full speed running into here.
Yeah.
And me or Ryan didn't even say anything. We just looked at each other and just stared at this dog. And then like a few seconds later, this lady came and grabbed it. But I was like, what the what the heck? So that was really fun.
Yeah. I thought of that too.
Yeah. Anything else come to mind? I can keep spinning stuff. I don't know. But
I have a lot of good memories. I've cried in here a lot. I laughed in here a lot too. Yeah, I think anytime I record with just like the original crew was like a really good time. I remember one time we were recording and it was Harry's birthday, and so we had like a little like party hat for him like the whole time, but then he kept messing with it while we were recording and you could hear it and it was really annoying. Um and again, like just anytime we had like a bunch of people in here and like trying to like go between like one mic with like multiple people was chaotic but really fun. Um Trying to think. I've like practiced my Rubik's Cube in here a lot and like timing that. I think trying to think of like a specific memory. I had a lot of fun when we were like we pulled up 7 on the laptop or not laptop but like the computer and like we recorded kind of like a live reaction of like me watching it for the first time, which is now one of my favorite movies. But that was fun and sticks out of my memory a lot and has informed my nightmares since a particular scene.
yeah.
But yeah, that was really fun. I just think that was a really good experience doing that. So yeah, I feel like I had something else, like another kind of memory that stuck out. But I don't know. I just feel like every time I'm in here is very like feels very significant because I've spent so much time and like so many late nights here.
Yeah. We're all commuters.
Yeah, we're all commuters. Yeah, so I just spent a lot of time in here, just like either like waiting to be picked up or just like needing a space. And this has always been like a very good like quiet space for me to like do homework or do work or something like that. I also have a memory of being in here, and there was a tornado. Well, there's a tornado warning, and then the sirens went off, and I started freaking out. And I was with somebody else, and I was panicking because I'm terrified of tornadoes. And we ended up going into the TTV studio, and we went into the cry room, and I stayed in the cry room for like the rest of the night. So yeah.
That was a good memory.
What?
no,
I mean,
no, you're
even
fine.
like these stressful moments,
yes.
it's like I've cried in here a lot, but even those are like good memories, I think, because it's just like
Yeah.
it's such a special place, and so I always see it as like even like that memory is just like funny to think back on. Like I was like in here like freaking out. I like bawl my eyes out as soon as the sirens go off. It's just like a natural reaction. But like even now, like I think it's just funny. Like I started off in here crying, and then I was just like taking all my stuff and like running and like curled up in the little cry room, and like that, like as if the cry room was gonna do anything if a tornado came through Kendall. Like it's not gonna do anything. Like it's barely holding on right now, like behind us. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was just messing with you. I was trying to, another cool thing was like we were on the radio.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
A very small radio. Is
yeah.
Iris, who was our editor last semester, now working for that radio station, I think, was just like, it was when we were doing our Halloween series, and she was like, do you want to like do a podcast like exclusively for the radio? And we did it, and I listened to it, and it was really cool.
I didn't catch it. I don't think
you didn't think so. I think I have it. If you never, because we didn't upload that one anywhere else.
Yeah.
That was
and
that was a radio exclusive.
Oh, I thought of something else.
Go for it.
So when Harry was my assistant director. Sorry, if you're following the storyline here, I think I just name dropped him. So,
I thought we already had.
oh, well, so when Harry was my assistant director, he was also a commuter. At a certain point, he started. Wait, was he a commuter at that point? I don't know. He was always in here, so we were just like kind of take turns of like being in here, and like consistently, whenever one of us was like walking in, we were like, like the like Western like cowboy kind of thing where they're like,
Yeah.
For whoever gets their gun up first. Consistently, like anytime like one of us would like walk in, we would immediately like if someone was sitting there, they'd swivel around, and we'd immediately be like,
Yeah.
and so you could do it fast. And so it was funny if it wasn't one of us walking into the room because we were always just like so prepared to be like, guns drawn. So that's always like that's a fun little memory.
Yeah.
I also really like the cyber podcast. That's what I was going to say earlier, is that the cyber podcast was a very, very good memory and very, very fun. And I would like to do that again.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I had put down here the Catch That Kid episode. I feel like we just laughed for like an hour.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I think just like this kind of comes with the Halloween series, but like I think just me and you getting more in a rhythm of just like knowing how to do this.
Yeah, definitely. I think making a habit of recording every week really helped.
Yeah, and we also had never recorded with each other before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't like really gone back and listened to some of our early episodes from the year. Maybe they're a little bit rough, but I don't know. I feel like I can just tell like we're like when I'm not having to think about it, because I feel like at the beginning I'd be like, oh, what am I gonna say next? What am I gonna say next? But like now I'm just like, now we're just talking, which is really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Anytime I've been in here, recording has been great. Just like anytime I can put a podcast together and we can record it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's always been fun,
whether it's super planned or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes the funniest thing come from like. I'm trying to think of like an on the spot one we did.
The Pokemon one.
Yeah, I think that one was like funny for us. I don't know how entertaining it was for other people.
I feel like for other people, yeah.
But I remember editing it and like laughing a bunch just because it was. I feel like we were torturing ourselves by rating every single.
Well, and we were like, we're gonna do all of them, and then we got through 151, and we were like, all right, that's it, we're done.
We rated just the Pokemon, like we had just a tier list, and I was like, half the time I'm like, that one's cute, that one's not cute. But there's a lot of funny things happen throughout it.
You said that every time you've been recording in here is like a good time or a fun time. Does this extend to the early days of What's on Our Screens when you were having to deal with hot takes every single
yes.
time? I remember you being so stressed, and it was so funny.
Yeah, can
you elaborate?
The person who I recorded with, who like, I don't know what happened. I think I just was having a hard time communicating with him and getting him to like come on, because I did enjoy recording with him. This is me like extending an olive branch. If he's listening. But like he would tend to just like whip out a hot take just like whenever he felt like it, and I would just have to like react to it in some way. I don't know if it was just like for content or if he actually felt. I feel like some of them he actually felt that way because he had some sort of argument to back it up.
Mm-hmm. Also, I remember there being so many times where like whoever was like editing, if like Harry was editing, he would be like, can we leave this in? And I'd be like, no, you absolutely cannot leave that in. And it was always something that the person you recorded with said. Like I was always like, no, that needs to be cut out. Like you can't say that.
All right. That's funny. If you guys don't have anything else, I was just gonna ask, I guess all of us, what did you guys get out of being a part of Studio 151?
Okay, you're looking at me, so I'll go first.
No,
Okay. I got out well, a lot of really good memories and a lot of really good friends. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna get like emotional thinking about it. I just think the space has been so important to me. And kind of, developing this like appreciation for, I guess, like the podcast industry and podcasting. But it's also kind of gone on to inform like what I want to do. Even though I'm not like in like the, audio or like podcasting industry, having the experience of like the leadership of like trying to like, manage an organization and I guess like now I'm very interested in like project management, and I think that was kind of born out of my experience with being director and trying to get things like off the ground and figure things out. But I think so even though that really helped my resume and stuff, and just like building skills, I think ultimately like the thing that I got out of it the most was just all the memories and like the good times and all the cries and yeah, all the like the people that I got to like meet and spend time with in here. So it's always hold a very special place in my heart, even when specifically this space is demolished and reduced to rubble.
Do
Yeah.
you have anything, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the same stuff. Some great friends. I met you guys through this, and that's been awesome. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I learned to edit podcasts.
I was asking the question, like, it can be technical stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of the technical stuff, like I hadn't really done a lot of, like I'd done some video editing, but not like seriously. And now I've done some video editing, some audio editing, managing people a little bit, trying to get people to commit to stuff, even though they're like kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah.
A lot of that. Yeah, and I just I mean I think you and I were talking about this at some point. Just like it's been a rewarding experience, especially this past year. Just seeing how much we've grown and been able to like get more people in and get people to make more podcasts and inspire the like creativity and the membership has been really rewarding and great. I mean, part of that's been our membership has just been like bringing new people in every week, like forcing them to come with them. But it's produced a lot of really great stuff. So yeah,
I agree with both things you said. I mean, I had a decent amount of experience with like video and audio editing, but this consistent, and I just realized like I've gotten really fast, and like not to brag, but I feel like I've gotten really good at it, and just like covering things up when something needs to be, or just anything revolving around that. And I've never had to like manage a social media account, and I feel like that's something that I've actually like enjoyed doing. And like I don't know, I like checking like how the posts are doing and stuff like that, or just how the episodes are doing, like that. Yeah, all that has just like been really fun, and I'm like, oh, this one did really good. I wonder why. Or, like, so just stuff like that. It's been really incredible to be a part of, and like you kind of mentioned, just like kind of guiding people and leading people, and that's something I think like I wouldn't necessarily think about when I'm like, what did I get out of this? But I 100% did, because I think, starting my freshman year, I don't think I would have ever thought I would have been in like a leadership position where I am, very much informing like a group of people, or that I'm like so confident in an area that I feel like I can teach people. And I definitely have gotten there. And I think that's really cool. And like you said, I mean, like, I don't know, we have like 5 or 6 regular podcasts going on right now, and like that's awesome. And I just feel like the potential can continue to be so much more. And I'm I think this is kind of taking a step back and just going to all of us, I mean, I think we've all just put an incredible amount of work into this, and I think it really shows.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to encapsulate all of it, but I think just like where the studio started and kind of through Chloris's era and through our era, it's continued to grow. And I think, we have two new co-directors that have a lot of ambitions, a lot of ideas, and like are also young. And I think there's going to be a what?
Sorry, they're young, as
Yeah.
if you're not young, but no, they're
In terms of
younger,
they are going to be at college.
They've
Yeah.
got a
while.
couple of
Yeah.
years to establish something.
Yeah, and I know I've talked with Ryan, and like we've only been doing this for 1 year, and like part of me is like wish I did it for more, just
Yeah.
because like the amount we've accomplished in this year, I'm like, well, what if we had another year, So there's that kind of thinking, but obviously I'm super glad to have any part of it. But yeah, it makes me look forward to what Studio 151 is going to be. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't ask for better people to have part of this club and to be as passionate. I mean, I feel like we're all equal passionate. And I did just want to say, I don't, you guys might feel the same way, but this, being in this role genuinely brought me so much joy. I don't ever obviously editing podcasts feels like work sometimes, but fun work.
Yeah. I'm always happy to do it.
Yeah. And I could tell on Wednesdays I would be excited. One, because we're recording. And also we're get to talk to a group of people about podcasts and what they're going to be doing. And that's just genuinely fun. And like I said, all putting it together, releasing it, doing a video, making a post, it's just the combination of all of it is just so fulfilling. And yeah, it never felt like work.
Yeah.
And it's gonna feel weird not having that work anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel it's definitely I have found out, an area where, when work doesn't feel like work, that's, potentially something to pursue. And I definitely have felt that way, and I don't know if you guys feel the same. But yeah. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, but
no, I think I just echo all your statements. And thank you to Ryan for basically being my saving grace and making content and really taking the reins on that. I think I was very concerned when I was director, just because I feel there were a lot of odds stacked against the studio, and but it's cool to see that it came out of that, and nice to see I know Caspian, we had kind of talked about this before, that it's kind of it's like a plant. So it's Jenna I don't know, put the dirt down, and then I put in the seeds, and then you guys started watering it, and now it's a little plant, So it's just cool to see how when I came in, it basically not being anything, to slowly kind of getting recognition and garnering interest, even the fact that it even survived the pandemic,
yeah.
going from having again having no sort of nothing to really establish it before, so with the pod, or not podcast, but with TUTV, it's been going for over over 2 decades, more than that maybe, and 151 didn't have that, and it still somehow survived a global pandemic, and it's really flowering and becoming its own thing. I'm just very proud to see that. So
Yeah, I agree. This is a emotional bait question, but I just was gonna ask, and we've already kind of hinted at it, but just if you guys have any like specific thing that you're gonna miss.
I think all of it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
The space, the social time, the podcast, making podcasts, having that time and the ability to do that. Because when you enter the workforce, you're not gonna have time to do that unless you're in like podcasting. So
Yeah.
just very special space and special time.
Yeah, I said I think I've expressed this to you a couple times. It's just going to be weird to not have like podcasts to edit.
Yeah.
It's just going to be weird to not have that thing to think about.
I think it's gonna be weird, like not having like, because I think I've still had the space through you guys and like being able to like come here and like do work in it, and it's gonna be weird like not having this kind of space at all.
Yeah.
It can become somebody else's cry room.
Yeah.
No.
For sure. Well, yeah, I don't know if I have anything else. I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the effort that you put in. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we really have put in a lot of work, and I think this is just going to keep getting better. And I don't think that would have happened if we didn't put all this work into it. What do you have, Chloris?
The number one thing I'm going to miss are the NPR people. I know I've complained about them a lot. A lot because they're very noisy. But I think I will miss them.
You'll miss the noise.
Yes, the random curse words yelled, the door opening, and that's a memory that we didn't talk about. I think that's probably my favorite memory now that I think about it. I don't know if you want to tell it really quick, but
It's kind of weird. Like
It's
part of me
weird.
feels like I did something wrong.
yeah.
So I think we told you, but
I
so
don't remember this.
there's a door right there.
Yeah.
So one time me and Chloris were sitting in the two seats that you were in. A lady opened it, but there's this curtain, so there just was like you could just see a figure peeking their head through it.
Like through just
Yes.
Like through this, yeah.
Through the, and so that's in the middle between us.
Yeah.
And
We both just went silent.
well, so I think she was like, "Hello," like, which is already. I don't remember. I feel like she said something.
I
Or
feel
it
like they
was-
were like, is this like a closet or something like
Okay,
that?
maybe it was
Yeah.
that.
They were definitely talking about what it was.
So I was just like, part of me was like, I was like, do we say something? Because like, but then I was like, if I say anything, I'm like they're right next to me. Like, it's gonna scare the crap out of them.
Mhm.
If they're like really confused. But then also I'm like, it's weird if I don't say anything.
Yeah.
But then we just didn't say anything.
So we went with it's gonna be weird, and we just decided to be quiet, and we didn't move. We stayed super still and waited until they closed the door.
And then
and we both bust out laughing.
it just was so weird just seeing a head
Yeah.
just form. Yeah, terrifying too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me still feels so weird about that.
Surprised they haven't tried again. Also, that was their first time trying.
Yeah, maybe it was like a new person or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think
feel
somebody
like
was
I'd
with
be curious. I feel like if there was just a door,
Yeah.
that'd be me.
them. There was two of them. There was for sure two of them. Like, what is this? Huh? No. And then they closed it.
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm surprised they didn't try and further investigate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, sorry to derail your little
No.
conclusion there, but yeah, that's my favorite memory.
No, you're good. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of just repeating myself a little bit, but I'm genuinely just really thankful for you two. And
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Chloris for getting me into it, and Caspian for helping me keep doing it.
Of course. Yeah.
And looking forward to what Avery and Betty do,
Yeah.
because they've been wonderful this past year.
Well, I'm also looking forward to what we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope. Yeah, I don't want communication to be cut off in any way. I want to still keep in touch. Yeah.
Looking at you because you're the one that's moving.
Yeah, I don't live here, so.
But yeah, really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this will be our last time. I don't know. Maybe this building will still exist, or we'll be called on for some alum episode or something. But
Gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry. But you know, this is potentially our last time recording. Couldn't have had better people to deal with, and I'm glad that you guys both wanted to sit down and talk about this. It's just, I remember Ryan kept like, we kept trying to schedule this, and he was like, kept kind of like, you want to do it this week? And I'm like,
No, I'll push it back.
yeah, push it back, because like I just knew I wasn't gonna like feel it, you know. Because it wasn't going to feel like the last episode, you know, if, like, it's not at the end, because we're still going to do stuff. But, yeah, thank you to everyone that is part of the, like, TU Media Lab and keeping this space open. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we're all going to sign off one last time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna sit here and cry. I was like, I'm not gonna cry, and now you got me.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, goodbye, everybody. And thank you for listening. And hope the best for the TU Media Lab and us.
Yep.
Yep.
All
Bye.
right. See you.
Bye.